It'll probably do better than most things that you want to speculate on. But it depends. I mean, what you're going to do. You might want to have some other metals. You might want to have maybe put 10 or 20,000 of it into some of the silver stocks that have really been beaten up because the silver goes up. I mean, it's possible these things could go up a multiple of that. So
okay.
Anyway, and think about the Perth Mint, too. It's a great place. If you're going to have that much silver, if you have $60,000 worth of silver, it takes up a lot of space. It's expensive to store. Having it over at the Perth Mint solves a lot of those problems.
Yeah, we're going to do it through you guys, actually.
Yeah. All right.
And one last thing.
Thank you. Next call is Tony from Florida.
10 to 15 years so that it
is Tony online? Or Tori, rather. Tori.
Is it just raw land right now?
It's raw land.
Tori, hey, turn down your radio. You're playing back what I already said.
To me, what I would try to do.
Can you turn down your radio, whoever's on the line? Is that Tori? I don't know who that is. Let's skip to Ed in Minnesota.
Just calling with a couple of questions and a comment. I'm one of your smaller clients, I'm sure. I got one rolled over IRA and also a cash account. And my question was, what do you make, if anything, of the fact that the government is putting the car makers through quite a ringer to find out what the viability of their business plan when they loan that money out for the bailout with no requirement for the banks to tell them, hey, we've got this business.
Yeah, look, I think, that would be one thing that they could talk about. It's like, hey, there were no strings on the money you gave to, all these banks. You gave billions of dollars to all these lending institutions, and you didn't do anything. And, why is it a different story for the automakers? And, yeah, they've got a point, but, I don't think the government should be bailing them out, period. So I don't even think, that it should matter. Certainly if they're going to bail them out, I guess they have a right to ask for concessions and to try to, put some restrictions on the money, the way it's going to be used. But again, I don't like that. I don't like the government bailing out a company and then trying to micromanage it, trying to give them advice on how to run their business or, how to make cars. If these politicians knew anything about making cars, they'd be in the car business. If they knew anything about doing anything, they wouldn't be in politics. They're in politics because that's all they know how to do, which is basically nothing. They can't run their own businesses, so they run other people's businesses into the ground by taxing and regulating them. So we do not want a society where these cronies in Washington, bureaucrats, are trying to run businesses when they're obviously incompetent at doing it. And, of course, they're running businesses without any risk because it's not their money. It's our money. It's taxpayer money, and they're making decisions for political reasons, not for economic reasons. And as I said, none of this worked in the Soviet Union. Centralized government planning has failed everywhere it's been tried. Why do these idiots think it's going to work if we do it in Washington? They're no smarter than the Russians who tried it, or when the Chinese tried it. The Chinese, after decades of central government planning, the reason that the Chinese economy is prospering now is because the government stopped doing that by and large and freed up the market to do it. And now, we're doing the opposite.
Yeah, concur with all you said, but I think they got the upper hand on us. The question I had was, and this is my first year investing with you, and I'm taking a beating like everybody, but I'm in it to get the upside someday. And my question is a kind of a nuts and bolts thing. On my forms that I get back, it tells about foreign tax withheld at source and that sort of thing. When it comes to B tax, I'm number one, will I get a complete tax?
Yeah, what happens is at the end of the year when you get your statement, you will get an accounting of how much foreign taxes you've paid. And it'll be part of your, the 1099 a year-end statement, and you simply either, give that to your accountant, or if you're doing your taxes yourself, you can use that as your foreign tax credit, for your taxable accounts. And, for most people, you'll be able to recoup 100% of what you paid in taxable accounts in foreign taxes against your U.S. income taxes. Now, if you don't pay any U.S. income taxes, then you can't get it back because it's a credit against taxes that you pay. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to owe taxes. If you've had taxes withheld from your wages over the years, and now you pay foreign taxes, you can actually get a refund. You can qualify for tax refund based on the fact that you paid foreign taxes.
Okay, I'll be looking forward to it. I pay a lot of taxes, so I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
And the comment I had was, I've been dealing with John Downs all the way through this thing, and John Downs is just an outstanding person.
I'm sitting in John Downs' chair right now in his office, and I'll relay your sentiments to John.
Yeah, tell him I'll see him for another beer and a Mexican dinner one of these nights.
All right.
Okay.
I will.
Yeah, bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Next up, I believe, is Mike from Indiana.
Hey, what's going on, Peter?
Hey, not much. How are you, Mike?
Not bad. Hey, I'm a farmer from the Midwest, and I own a decent amount of farm ground.
Mm-hmm.
What's this devaluation of the dollar going to do to that?
Well, I think, look, I'm very bullish on agriculture. I'm bullish on farming. I think you're in a good business. I think more people ought to go into farming and horticulture and agriculture and those types of businesses. I think there's a whole world out there that's going to want to eat, and you're going to help feed them. And I think it's, I think what you want to do is just, try to have an efficient farm as you can and try to, run the business and realize that you've got a lot of Americans who are going to be hungry, a lot of people all around the world that are going to be hungry, and you try to, efficiently as possible, produce the food and distribute it,
So you think that farmland is going to keep appreciating?
I think so. I think right now probably it's not because, no land is appreciating because nobody has money to buy. But, I think that you don't need to sell it. You just need to operate it. And if you're a good farmer, I don't know anything about farming. If I had a piece of farmland, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'd have to, release it to somebody who did or sell it. But if you're in the business, if you understand, how to farm, I think it's a great business.
Yeah. I got a question, too, on after this deleveraging is done and, throughout the commodity sector, what do you think the ultimate bottom will be in gold and crude?
Oh, I don't know. There's just no way to know where the bottom is. We might be at the bottom right now, and, chances are we're not, but we might be. But, I don't know. I think that ultimately prices are going a lot higher. I think, oil is held up. Gold, rather, is held up very well. And I think, gold, I don't think it's going to collapse like some of the other commodities. I think gold is held up well for a reason, and I think a lot of people are figuring out that need to store their wealth, and gold is the best place to do it. But oil, I think this big drop in the price of oil is ultimately going to help sow the seeds for a much bigger oil rise in the future. I think oil is going to go a lot higher now because of this decline than what would have happened had it never fallen. And I think the reason for that is, when you get this precipitous decline, $140 a barrel down to $50 a barrel or lower in a short period of time, that scares the hell out of the exploration industry. That scares the hell out of alternative energy. That keeps capital scared. So you know what's going to happen when oil prices get back above $100 a barrel, which might even happen as soon as next year? People are going to be afraid. People are going to say, you know what? I'm not going to commit new capital to this oil industry. I'm not going to commit capital to alternative energy because you know what? The minute I do, the price can collapse right back down again. And I think this is putting the fear in a lot of people, and I think OPEC is just loving it because what OPEC wants is for people to not believe in high oil prices because they don't want the additional capital being committed to exploration. They don't want the world gearing up with alternative energy. And so when you get these major declines, it scares everybody. I think OPEC loves it. And I think what's going to happen is now oil prices are going to have to go even higher and stay there even longer before people, have the courage to commit capital to solving that problem.
Okay.
All right, thanks for the call.
Thanks. Bye.
I think next up is Marty in California.
Yeah, hi, Peter. How are you? Thanks for taking the call. I had a question in regards to a couple of things. I actually invested $150,000 today at Euro Pacific, and I bought some Perth Mint. Mm-hmm. I'm listening to you right now and everything, and you're talking about the stocks and everything. I'm a filmmaker, so as far as this kind of stuff, I feel like just recently I've taken the red pill and just kind of opened my eyes and everything. So I'm just trying to kind of get into it to make sure that I do the right thing so I can preserve the money and be able to, have a...
Well, yeah, I think you're doing the right thing, and for those of you who don't understand what the red pill is, it's a